Hi, this is Joe Cortez. You're watching ShowBizz, The Adult.
Oh, this is Bernard Hopkins, ShowBizz, The Adult. I'm out.
Oops! Up off net? Up off net! Won't you believe, my neighbor? Won't you believe? Could you please? Believe. My neighbor. Hi, neighbor. What's up, my people? This is ShowBizz, the adult. All right, man, look. So, Errol the True Spence, he says, line them up. They're talking Danny Garcia, September. Risky? Oops. All right, man, look. Let's get to the video. First, I want to say this. Up Off Net is here. Make sure you go by ShowBizzTheAdult.com, the online store. Be a part of Team Up Off Net. Get you an Up Off Net t-shirt. While you're at it, you can get you a black 2 Sugars cup. We'll be making more t-shirts, more cups, and more merchandise for all of my show business partners in my community. And shout out to Mr. Gonzalez. I'm not going to say your full name. I'm not going to put your business out there like that. But thank you for ordering Up Off Net t-shirts in all colors. That right there, that was mad love. And don't forget to all of my show business partners, if you see somebody walking down the street wearing an Up Off Net t-shirt, don't worry, they're family. ShowBizz the coffee. Black, 2 Sugars. Oh, I've been receiving a few questions. Actually, it was one question in particular from a show business partner asking me what should they bet on busr.com/showbiz. They were like, what events out there? What should they bet on? And I have a list of things. I usually bet on the sports because I'm pretty smart when it comes to sports. And you guys have seen me go, win 3 times in a row when it comes to betting on sports. So here's a few things that's coming out for horse racing, which, funny enough, oddly enough, my biggest win was from horse racing. I bet on Tis the Law. A lot of you guys were there in that live stream when I won $5,000 up off it. So on May 23rd, you have the Kentucky Derby prep race. That's the Matt Winn race. You have a few other things on May 23rd. You have the Daytona Stakes and, Charlie Whittingham Stakes. On May 25th, you have the Shoemaker Mile. Also, today and tomorrow and May 24th, you have NASCAR. So that's the Darlington Xfinity Series. That's today. And then you have the Cup Series. That's tomorrow. And then you have another Cup Series May 24th. So all of those things will work just fine. Now, come, later this month, I think UFC has an event May 30th, that's right, and they have another one, UFC 250, June 6th. I think that's the Amanda Nunes card. And Top Rank, they have a card June 9th. So those are the events that are coming up. Go to busr.com/showbiz to place your bets, create your accounts. ShowBizz the coffee. Now I'm ready. Black, 2 Sugars. Let's get to the video. So Errol the True Spence, that guy got mad hearts, okay? He's a warrior for sure. Look, in my opinion, Errol the True Spence taking on Danny Swift Garcia in the first place was one hell of a fight to me. Accident or no, when they were talking about having that fight, I thought that was a tough fight. And let me explain to you something about Danny Garcia, styles make fights. Let's go through the whole thing here. And I know a lot of you guys going to be jumping in the comments. Please do, okay? Danny Swift Garcia, when it comes to his resume, he has one of the better resumes in the welterweight division. See, my thing is this. When you think of Terrence Bud Crawford, one of the best fighters, pound for pound, period. When you look at him and see how much of a threat he is to Errol the True Spence, when you say styles make fights, he is a threat. So is Danny Garcia. And when you look at his resume in comparison to Danny Swift Garcia's, Danny Swift Garcia may have the better resume. Terrence Bud Crawford, better accomplishments. Look, Danny Garcia, he was taking on guys like Lucas Matisse before he was that, uninspired Lucas Matisse against Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Amir Khan. Back when Amir Khan, he only lost to Prescott and he lost to Lamont Peterson. This was the Amir Khan, not the one that was totally washed up by Terrence Bud Crawford. And honestly, it may have been that left hook by Danny Swift Garcia that washed Amir Khan up. And Danny Swift Garcia took on Lamont Peterson, though I would have given Lamont Peterson the nod. And Danny Swift Garcia took on Paulie Malignaggi. And Danny Garcia had those fights with Super Zab Judah and Eric Morales and all those older guys. But then when he moved up, he gained the vacant WBC title by taking on the Ghost Guerrero. And then he fought Keith One-Time Thurman, and he fought Showtime Sean Porter. Now, he lost to both of those guys, but I'm saying that guy is battle-tested. But what I don't want you all to do is go to BoxRec or go to Wikipedia and just look at his record or who won the fights between Keith One-Time Thurman and Showtime Sean Porter. I want you to watch the fights to see how it went. Let me tell you what's so amazing there. Look, when Danny Garcia fought Keith Thurman, when Keith Thurman fought Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, when Danny Garcia fought Sean Porter, when Sean Porter fought Errol the True Spence, and when Showtime Sean Porter fought Keith One-Time Thurman, all those guys were razor thin close. See, people dropped Danny Garcia down as if Danny Garcia is not one of the top guys. That guy has as much of a chance as being champion as the rest of them. Think about how those fights went between Danny Swift Garcia, Keith One-Time Thurman, and Danny Swift Garcia and Showtime Sean Porter. That Danny Swift Garcia and Keith One-Time Thurman fight was very close, razor thin close. And as far as Showtime Sean Porter, a guy that usually fight like Smoking Joe Frazier against Danny Swift Garcia, he turned him into Muhammad Ali. Showtime Sean Porter was moving around and on his toes like he was Muhammad Ali. But when Showtime Sean Porter took on Errol the True Spence, he fought Errol the True Spence more like Smoking Joe Frazier, didn't he? And that says a lot about an ex-champion blue-collar fighter like Showtime Sean Porter. That means that Showtime Sean Porter was more afraid of Danny Swift Garcia's power than Errol the True Spence's power. Hell, Keith One-Time Thurman said that Danny Swift Garcia is the hardest puncher he ever fought.
So the heaviest thud that I felt was on my shoulder from Danny Garcia.
And when it comes to Danny Swift Garcia, it's not just his punching power, it's his timing and the way he sets it up. Danny Swift Garcia is very good at timing that left hook and throwing it during the exchange. A lot of times, he's looking down at the body while he's throwing it up to the head. Why? Because the motion in which he throws that left hook looks like a body shot. Until you wake up later and say, dang, he hit me in the head. Now, we all know why Showtime Sean Porter decided to use his feet more against Danny Swift Garcia. One, to show that he's a complete fighter. But first and foremost, Danny Swift Garcia, he doesn't have the best feet. Now, it would behoove Errol the True Spence to do more boxing, use his feet more against Danny Swift Garcia. But let me tell you a little secret about Errol the True Spence. His pride doesn't allow him to do what's best all the time. Now, Errol the True Spence, he has this thing where he wants to beat you at your own game. To me, that makes Errol the True Spence one of the best warriors and biggest dogs in boxing. Errol the True Spence is going to be there to get hit by Danny Swift Garcia. And that's why I say this fight is going to be action-packed. Now, pre-accident Errol the True Spence, it still would be a nail-biter, but not as much as post-accident Errol the True Spence, with this fight against Danny Swift Garcia being his first fight back. I think Errol the True Spence will trade with Danny Swift Garcia. And I think Danny Swift Garcia is going to land on Errol the True Spence. And I think Danny Swift Garcia is going to rock Errol the True Spence. The thing about Errol the True Spence is Errol the True Spence, he has more wrinkles in this game than Danny Swift Garcia. With Errol Spence being the more athletic fighter, and with Errol Spence being the bigger fighter, I think Errol Spence is going to fight at a comfortable range, at a comfortable distance, but still with the ability to land big shots on Danny Swift Garcia. You've seen Errol the True Spence do that on a few occasions. He did it against Lamont Peterson. He also did it against Chris Algieri. Errol the True Spence is great with distancing, and he knows where to place himself to land great shots with full leverage. If you look at him against Showtime Shawn Porter doesn't allow you to dictate the distance. Showtime is going to keep closing the gap. So Errol the True Spence wasn't allowed to do what he does very often, and that is to control the distance and land shots with full leverage. He's going to do that against Danny Swift Garcia. It's going to be one heck of a fight, and it's going to be action-packed. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. ShowBizz, well, don't. I know. A lot of you Errol the True Spence fanboys gonna be real nervous. Bubble guts come fight night. But I do favor Errol the True Spence to take this one. I'm out.